All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachahak, Wadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom Barakatham. And I'm going to title this, Atheism is the lowest form of idolatry. Okay, and why do I say atheism is idolatry? Because, you know, when you think of the word atheist, you mean A means no or without, and theist goes into the word God, and which is what they believe, that there is no God, but they don't believe that there is no God. And the reason I say that is there's something in you that causes you to get up in the morning, and that sparks your will to live. Okay, now if you convince yourself that there is no God, there's no higher power, you've just confounded yourself, because what is driving you to get up and do anything? What's the point? If everything is pointless and everything is 4 billion years old, well, what is the point? What's driving you? You see, you believe in something, okay? And what you don't realize is that it's Satan. Now, I'm going to react to the video, the first part of the video is Elder GMS Inquire Early 2, okay? He did a snippet of these low-level, you know, heathen-minded nigglets, all right, trying to come against the Holy Scriptures, and they just have no concept. And this should be a wake-up call to the men of the Lord, that how far out the Lord can just bug you out, man. Okay, so let's play some of this, and we'll get a couple precepts, and we'll Lord willing, this is edifying.
Because what the hell is sin anyway?
Right, really, because if we was born into sin, but then he came to die for our sins, then why is sin still goes? That's a whole other thing. It's like me, I feel like this. If sin was like a payment, that's what we teach, right? It's a payment, right? The wages of sin is death. I'm going to teach a little bit here. The wages of sin is death, so that means there's a cost for sin, right? But then Jesus came and paid the cost for sin. So it'd be like me saying, hey, I got this big bill I can't pay. Jesus comes and pays it, right? It would be like me still paying the bill that he already paid. So what does that even mean?
What does that even mean?
Because we don't, like, it's just be throwing out stuff. And I really believe.
Do you see how slow Christians are, man? It's just the first clip, but do you see how slow they are? They don't even understand what Yahushua did, okay? Yahushua, which is the true name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, by the way. They have no idea. They're just lost, man. You know? What do I look like coming in and paying, and somebody already paid? Well, what you have to realize is that it's a tab, okay? And what you're doing is, because Yahushua said, I'm going to pay the tab, the whole tab, you decide to go up there and go behind the counter and start taking bottles of Don Julio and full bottles of Casamigos and running out, okay? Abusing the fact that the Lord said he was going to pay the entire tab. And see, what's going to happen is you are going to get caught out there. Okay, the Lord, you're gonna find out the Lord say, I'm not covering them. You see, they don't get it. That when the Lord is paying the tab, it's for the men that accidentally left their wallet, so to speak. You know, it's for slip-ups in the flesh. It's not a license to go out and do a bunch of wickedness, man. Okay, well, if that's the case, why you gonna be forgiven from? If you plan to commit murder, what's wrong with that then? Okay, if the Lord paid the tab, why would that be wrong? You know, the same justification you use for going out and buying pork chops, it's the same logic. Okay, you might as well go out and steal and kill and do things that are wicked. It's the same thing. See, y'all are abusing the grace period, and then y'all gonna be so shocked when the Lord gets back and starts putting hands on people. Okay, and what I mean by that is it's gonna be, you know, judgment time, you know, when the Lord gets back. Not that the Lord directly is gonna you know, do it. But let's keep playing.
Religion uses it as a tactic to scare.
I know this one might hurt, but I don't give a fuck. Everybody needs to hear what I'm about to say.
Here we go.
When it comes to these fucking gods and these fucking religions, why are we letting these people give philosophical, metaphysical arguments for shit that history disproves, right? When it comes to God and religion and Christianity and Islam and Judaism, history disproves this shit. We know where this mythology comes from. We can see the parallels. We can see the synchronization. We can see that it's plagiarized and copied from older myths. So how do we allow these people to give philosophical, feel me in bullshit arguments for things that history disproves? We know where Yahweh comes from. We know that the concept and the idea about heaven and hell, we know where that comes from. If you look at the older Near Eastern ancient mythology, we can see where the idea comes from. We know where the flood narrative comes from. We know where the creation narrative comes from. We understand that based on history, there was never an exodus out of Egypt, and there was never a guy named Moses that existed.
Now, this is the age-old argument of these atheists. They think they can prove a negative, even though they weren't there. Okay? How do you prove a negative? Okay? That's like saying, how do you prove that on July 22nd, okay, that you weren't at home? Okay, well, you'd have to witness it to prove that it wasn't there. But see, were you there to witness it? No. How can you say Moses didn't exist? How is a lack of evidence proof of anything? You see, you gotta think about the stupidity of the atheist argument, man. Okay. They're trying to affirm a negative. You cannot affirm a negative if there's nothing there. Okay? You can't assert that the Most High don't exist because you can't detect him. Okay, well, you don't know. You can't detect him. Okay? Or it goes over your head. You see? Now, the agnostics, they have a little bit more honorable position where they just say, I don't know, I don't believe, I don't really know. Okay? But the atheists are so low level, they will literally assert that there is nothing, and their finite brains can't even comprehend the things that they do see. Okay? Have no concept of understanding things that they can't see. At all whatsoever, man. Just the lowest low level. Let them finish, and I'll get these precepts.
Know this based on history. You know, I sit and listen to these fucking debates and these Christians, and they're arguing about this metaphysical, abstract, flexible ass fucking God. And it's like, history disproves your fucking religion.
He's trying to go into history when he don't even understand. This is the old bottom of the barrel, you know, the Walking Dead house of unconsciousness rhetoric. Okay, this is Ephesians 12. Okay, verse 12. All right, it says, and further by these, my son, be admonished. Okay, of making of many books there is no end, and much study is weariness in the flesh. And see, this is what he did. Okay, that's what he did. He went and looked into a lot of books, you know, wore himself out and just like, oh, the Lord don't exist, you know, okay? He's going through all of these, even though the Bible is the most vetted, scrutinized set of literature in the history of the world, okay? I'm talking about all of these Edomites went and got all of these manuscripts and textual criticisms and things of that nature, put it all together, corroborated with other civilizations and pottery and archaeology, all of these things, man, okay? Only for a nigga to come back and say, well, the Exodus didn't happen, you know? He wants the name Moses to be written down and this and that, and, you know, he wants a glowing scroll saying, look, Moses existed, you know? Low level, man. What was I gonna get? Yeah, Hosea 4:6 works. It says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. Okay? And this rejection is gonna hurt, man. Okay? You think being rejected by a woman or not getting a job or something like that is hurtful. Wait until the Lord rejects you. Watch how cold it's gonna be. That panic and that fear is gonna sink to the bottom of your stomach, man. Okay? And it says that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children. Okay? So your whole household is done, it's through. Let's let them finish.
We know based on archaeology, anthropology, actual facts, actual history, demonstrable evidence. We know that your religion is made the fuck up. We know that all religions are born from myth making. How can you give a metaphysical, philosophical, field bro argument that negates what the fuck I just said? These people are on these apps. They're on Beyonce's internet. They on the internet giving abstract concepts and all these ontological, teleological. That doesn't mean shit if the religion is false. The religion is based on fiction. It's myth. How does an argument about an abstract deistic God, how does that override your religion coming from myth making? How does that override us knowing where the flood story comes from? Us knowing that the Israelites were originally Canaanites that worship multiple gods? How?
See, they ain't even read the Bible, man. Okay? How can you be an Israelite and a Canaanite? Where do you get the name Canaanite from? The Bible. Stupid. Then he's trying to convince you that the same people that the name Canaan comes from biblical texts and writings. Okay? All right, and he's trying to convince you that they were never Israelites. They were Canaanite. How? That's so stupid, man. Okay? You literally learn about the literal man, the grandson of Noah, the son of Ham. You learn about him literally and all of his descendants and where they come from. It's a lineage of people, not a land. Okay? See, they're conflating toponyms, which is the name of the which is the name given to you by the land you live in, versus a patronym, which is a name given to you by the man or the patriarch you came from. Okay? So you could be a Canaanite by patrilineage, or you can be a Canaanite by just living in the land of Canaan. Okay, but that doesn't make you a Canaanite through patrilineage. Okay, you could be called a Canaanite by living in the land and still be an Israelite. Okay, they don't even understand these things. You know, like how are they Canaanites? Okay, when the father of Ham, okay, is written about in the book. Okay, so the Bible goes before Canaan. You see. That's so dumb, man.
Can you giving a
the Lord just gonna start killing people, man? You know, the brother just sent a text in the group chat earlier about these landmines or these sea mines, you know, that they use for submarines, just washed up on a beach, and it killed 3 people. They were out there swimming and it boom, just blew up and killed them. You know. See, the Lord is about to start really jacking people up out here. Okay? And this is why you're going to see clowns like this become emboldened. And then a lot of other people are going to get quiet. Okay? All of this shit talking is about the end. Okay?
metaphysical argument override what I just said? How? I'm not understanding. And we're platforming these people, and we actually talk to them as if they have room and a leg to stand on. They don't have shit. They have nothing. They don't have no evidence. They don't have no facts. History is not on their fucking side. Archaeology ain't on their side.
But he's not going to tell you how much of history, secular history, had to be pieced together using the Bible. Okay? They had to use the Bible to piece together because we touched on everything. The leader of Persia, okay? The kingdom of the Moabites, all right? The Babylonians, okay? The Assyrians, all of those people, those rulers, a lot of history got colored in by what our people wrote down about them, okay? Some of those, the Lord destroyed some of those empires so thoroughly that a lot of the information it ain't even there. Okay, they can find some pottery and things of that nature to corroborate it, but it's all there, man. The prophecies about the Romans, about the Greeks, okay, we corroborated those things. Okay, all right, but see, this guy, he just reads. He probably doesn't even read. He probably just listens to people that have the same narrative to disprove the Egyptians, we were the first civilizations, or they like to say the Sumerians. Okay, see, we were here first, but they don't realize that the Bible is a codified, written down version of oral traditions that went way before that. We've been passing down oral traditions since the flood, man. Before that, okay. Now Moses was charged with codifying a lot of Genesis and all of that later, but it's things that we knew. It was passed down, and then Moses got imparted a lot of knowledge when he went up into that chariot. Okay. So they found a writing closer to the flood, but those are the same people that came off the boat, man. Okay. They couldn't tell you their names or none of that. Anyway, Psalms 14:1, it says, "The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good." All right. So that's a foolish thing to just say that there is no God, man. How can you? Occam's razor should tell you that if there are low-level beings, you could see hierarchies even within what we know, the animal kingdom. You got humans all the way down to ants and insects and microorganisms. Do you think it just stopped there? What are the chances that the buck stops with humanity? There's no greater being than humanity. We're the pinnacle. See, when you start to analyze it, it really is just pride. Okay? And that's why I say it's idolatry. Okay? It's idolatry of the human race, because what you're really saying is we're the gods. We're the peak creation that there is. There's nothing above us. Okay? And that's naive to think that, because if there are things below you, why wouldn't there be things above you? Okay, that should be logic and common sense that to come to that conclusion. Now, you may not be able to prove it, but you have to infer that there's something greater than you. Okay, you got to infer that there are things that still exist even though you can't see them. Okay, your vision, you can't see the entirety of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, you can see colors, you can see certain things. Okay, you can hear certain frequencies, you can't hear other frequencies. There's limitations to these finite bodies. So for you to say that there just is nothing above or outside of that, well, I can't see it, well, it don't exist. It's such a low level, stupid ass thought process, man. Okay, and that's why you're called a fool. Okay. I mean, see, you probably got a little bit more on him.
Anthropology ain't on their side. The inscriptions, the coins, the statues, none of this is on their side. The buildings, the infrastructure, the pyramids, the hieroglyphics, nothing points to these fucking gods. All of this shit points to something else. So I'm trying to, you gotta help black atheists explain to me how a metaphysical feel me in argument, how does that prove a God out of books we know is made up? How? I think the fucking jig is up. The debate is fucking over. There's nothing.
Yet nobody is on you. Atheists, y'all are laughed at, man. No, that's why you don't ever look up and wonder why y'all are in the minority. Why some of the smartest people in the world, they still will acknowledge there's some kind of power. Even Esau knows that there are higher powers. Okay? And Esau's smarter than some nigga on the internet, okay? That don't dawn on you, like, why, like even low-level heathen know that there's some kind of higher power, You gotta prove to me, like, who the fuck are you, nigga?
The debate with these niggas, they don't have nothing. They have nothing. All they can do is give a fucking, well, something can't come from nothing. That's all they fucking got. Well,
what do you mean that's all we got? That's pretty massive. Okay. He's talking about that's all we got. You mean everything? Something can't come from nothing. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So that alone cuts him. But he gonna try to minimize it and say that that's all we got. Like come on, man. Okay, well disprove it then. You gotta prove how anything came from nothing. All right. Goodness gracious, man. You know, imagine going to the judge, you on trial for murder, and being like, well, all you got is videotape of me doing it. That's all you got. Well, nigga, that's all we need. That's so stupid, man. You cannot prove nothing, man. You know? Because what you believe in is nothing. You know? It's a vain circular thought process of if it don't exist, it must not be true. If I can't perceive it or understand it, it must not exist. Proud as hell, man.
The verse had a beginning. That's all they fucking got. They don't have shit else. Even if there is a fucking source at the root of all of this shit, that source ain't your religion, because your religion is based on fiction. Your religion is based on lies, falsehoods, misinformation. So you gotta explain to black atheists. I'm not grasping these concepts well. I'm not under.
The Lord blinded you, man. Okay, the Lord don't want niggas like you. We can see why, because you're proud, man. Okay, you are reserved for the missiles. Okay, and probably worse judgments before that. All right.
Standing, how the fuck does philosophical arguments for God override the fucking history, override the literal facts that disprove the religion? I'm like black atheists. I'm fucking tired of seeing these same ass weak ass arguments, these weak ass talking points that prove nothing. These people.
If it's so weak, why has it been debated for 2,000 years? If it's so weak, huh? Do you realize how little people believe that there is no God? You literally are asserting that there's no God.
Think a literal fucking Jesus the Christ walked this earth in human form. And what are you basing that off of? You basing that off of forgeries and lies, brother, sister. You basing that off of lies.
Where do you get that term from? Forgeries and lies.
Forgeries. I'm gonna end it like this, because I'm bringing up history, and I gotta let people know that the Bible is not a fucking history book. The Bible is not fucking facts. This is theological playwriting. This is.
Why is in every major empire in the region of Mesopotamia written about? Why can we read about by name the Assyrian king, the Neo-Babylonian king, the Persian kings, okay, the Greeks, the Romans? Okay, why is all of that they didn't exist? The Moabites didn't exist, the Ammonites didn't exist, the Canaanites didn't exist. Huh? The Egyptians, they're not a real civilization. Come on, bro. That's why the Lord just gotta clean niggas up, man. And he's gotta embarrass them first. Okay? They gotta be confounded. And I believe they're gonna be confounded with some of these things we're gonna see. Things in the heavens, miracles, things of that nature. Okay? And the Lord's still gonna cut them off, man. The Lord gonna sweep them up out the way. Some men that aren't proud are gonna convert when they see these things, but guys like this, they ain't gonna repent, man. You know, the Lord got them proud for a reason, because the spirit in you ain't right.
Fan fiction. This is myth making. This is literature. These are literary devices. These have a theological agenda. This is not world fucking history. Like, you got niggas from Africa saying that they the Israelites. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm losing my fucking mind, because people believe that in the beginning there was a literal Adam and Eve and they ate of a tree and all this bullshit, when we know where the stories come from.
The stories come from the different nations. You had Ham, Shem, and Japheth. That was our custom to pass things down orally. That's why all of these different nations have some version of the flood. Okay, they have some version or creation story that's similar. Okay, because when you pass traditions down, especially in the Tower of Babel, the Lord confounded the languages and scattered the people. Okay, you have variations of it, but it's roughly the same thing, roughly the same creation story, roughly the same account of the flood, etc., etc., etc. Okay, And they each wrote them down independently of one another. That's why you can go in every ancient land and nation, and there's going to be some kind of degree of them going into it to some degree, okay? But our story, okay, it was faithfully written down, and I'm gonna end it here actually, just to close it out on that. Ours was faithfully written down, and the Lord made sure Moses had the complete understanding when he went in that chariot and he came back down. He can write Genesis out, okay, with accuracy, okay, using the oral traditions and the things the Most High showed him, okay. So our story is the most accurate, okay? Even though other nations have their accounts of it, you know, ours is the most accurate, okay? And this is the 2 Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord Jehovah. He doesn't believe that there's a higher power, and he put these words in the mouth of men to be written down. And he made sure these words were codified and reprinted and copied over and over and over again to last all of this time. He just can't fathom that. All right. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Okay. So our account of it is faithful and true. Okay. And your lack of faith is not going to be an excuse. Okay. It says, fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. And that's this guy, man. All right. It says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Okay. And you know what the book of Ezra, 2 Ezra 15 goes into after that? Plagues. Okay. So your unfaithfulness, you're going to die in it, man. Okay. And every nigga that's with you, every nigga that like these kind of videos on the comment boards, you know, you're scoffers and shit talkers, okay? The Lord marked you, man. We ain't gotta come find you. The judgment is gonna find you, man. The judgment is gonna run you down and tackle you like a middle linebacker. Okay? Everybody's got a tailor-made judgment. That should scare the shit out of you, man. But it doesn't, because there's no fear of the Lord in you, but there will be. Okay? The Lord's gonna make sure of that, man. Okay? He said now is the time he's getting ready to visit the earth and make an inquisition. Okay? And what is he gonna find when you got proud niggas thinking, you know, something came from nothing? Really putting humanity as the gods, and we're not the gods, okay? There's a most high God, okay? Now the Israelites, the elect, we will be made into gods, okay? Godhood is our birthright, okay? But for you to think there's no higher power, nigga, you out of your mind, man. That don't make no goddamn sense. How could there not be? You know, anyway, I'll end it there, Lord willing. This was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Bahashim Rachakodah Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah.